Welcome, guys, back to the I Love Wrestling podcast. I am your host, as always, Justin Woolwine, and today we're welcomed with Mr. Eddie Islas. How we doing, my friend?
Islas, my friend, Islas. Say it
Islas,
right,
my bad.
Islas. Absolutely. The straight X
Bef-
devil in the house tonight.
I love it. I love the character. It's something I've been really interested, which we'll dive into it, of course. But doing research, that's been my favorite part, is the straight edge devil character. I'm really interested to dive into that. But before we get there, would you like to let all the fans know, everybody watching, know where they can catch the latest news for yourself and any promotions that you're currently working for?
Absolutely. Social media. Eddie Islas on Instagram. Actually, Eddie Islas 32 on Instagram. Eddie Islas on Facebook. I have a YouTube channel that I rarely ever post some upload matches and stuff. And yeah, I don't have like TikTok or anything like that because it's just too much. But I definitely should have that. I also you can also catch me on SoCal Pro shows. I'm pretty much on all of them because I'm like their biggest guy, obviously. Well, next to Matthias, but I train Matthias, but let's keep that on the low. Yeah. We I have a show on the 21st of February. SoCal Pro will be having their I think it's gonna be like their Valentine's Day show on the 21st of February. We just got out of
Nice.
the January show, and there should be something coming up for WWZ, which I'm also involved in.
Okay.
And whatever else pops up, maybe FMLS, maybe Global Lucha, whoever calls me, I'll be there.
Perfect. I'm guessing we can find any and all updates on your Instagram and places like that.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I normally upload all my matches. Not upload the matches, but I upload all my dates on social media. So if you want to
Perfect.
follow me, go right ahead.
I love it. Easy. I like it. Simple. With easy and simple, I'm gonna ease in with the first question. As wrestling fans, podcasters, wrestlers, we all start as a fan. With that, how did you find professional wrestling, and how did you, or what made you rather fall in love with it?
So it's a funny story. So according to my mom, I've been watching professional wrestling since I was about 8 months old.
Hmm.
Uh, Back in the day, I lived in Mexico when I was a youngster. She told the story is that her and my aunts used to sit around on a Sunday morning to watch some CMLL back in the day. And they used to just sit me down with them and just, that's how I started watching wrestling. Wrestling has been a part of my life as long as I can remember, to be honest with you. But if I could, if I could pinpoint, like my earliest memories, it would be from like watching the rivalry between Negro Casas and El Hijo del Santo from like CML in like '97. That's like probably my earliest rivalry that I remember. And that and the one between Heavy Metal and Sangre Chicana from AAA.
Okay. I'm interested. I like that. So, with that said, I'm going to assume your wrestling journey and fandom started with Lucha Libre. When did you find the American style, like WWF, WCW, or what was your first introduction to American wrestling?
I remember this. The very first time I watched an American show, it was a WCW show. It was in, I want to say like October of like 2000.
Ooh,
And WCW in 2000 was like at the
yeah.
worst. Yeah, at the worst time for them. But I remember this vividly because that was my first introduction to Rey Mysterio Jr.
Hmm.
And there was this cage match they did. It was like a 8 man cage, like a 8 team cage match. It was Ray and Hoovy versus like the no lip versus
No Limit
the
Soldiers?
well, that was them. They were the
Yeah, they
no
were
lip
the, yep.
before that. But this one they were the filthy animals, and it was them against the Misfits in action and a couple other tag teams, and they were like in this Hell in a Cell structure, but it was considered a cage match, and they brought a ladder in, and they like climbed the top of the roof, and then they did like a somersault over it, over to like the floors. It was just some craziness that I had never seen before. And that was Rey Mysterio Jr. That I recognized from like my old AAA days.
Mm. Was it shocking to see him with no mask?
Yes, because
Okay.
I didn't know him without a mask until then. And that was like the first time I ever watched WCW show. And I think that's the same, if I'm not mistaken, that's the same show when they had that San Francisco 49ers match with Booker T and Jeff
Yeah.
Jarrett. I think it was the
Also
same show.
terrible.
I thought it was the greatest thing when I first seen it because that was like my first introduction to American wrestling. But when I started watching it consistently was I want to say mid 2002
Okay. So
when
like
Mhm.
invasion era,
No,
kind of
this was post invasion,
post
post
invasion.
WrestleMania 18. This is
Oh,
the time
okay.
when also Rey Mysterio joined in
Okay.
WWE, and he had that SummerSlam match with Kurt Angle. That's around the time when I started getting into pro wrestling, like WWE pretty much. That was after WCW and ECW were already gone.
Yeah. Was it Ray that brought you like that drew you in, or was you watching right like before and then just so happened that Ray ended up being on TV?
I want to say that it was Ray that brought me in. Rey Mysterio is like a huge part of my life. You see that background right there?
Yep.
That is the GOAT. That's he's the only. I mean, I have a couple of action figures, but he's the only one that's displayed on my shelf because he is the GOAT.
Mm. I got one here myself. I got a bunch of action figures myself. I
I
understand.
don't
Huge
blame you,
fan of Ray
man.
growing up.
You want
Um,
Ed. Ray is the one in everybody's collection. He should be in everybody's Mount Rushmore.
okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you bring up Ray, obviously, with this next question. I'm assuming he's going to be the first guy that you bring up in my next question. Who were
Mhm.
some of those guys and even girls that you were a fan of as a kid? Who were your favorites?
Okay. Um, I mean, this is gonna be very unpopular, but quite frankly, I don't care. It's my decision. Benoit, Chris Benoit is probably my
Okay.
like so. To me, I have a Mount Rushmore. Ray sits above the Mount Rushmore, but in the Mount Rushmore, we have people like Chris Benoit. We have I have Kurt Angle. Eddie Guerrero could be there. Maybe CM Punk is there as well.
Okay. I see a common theme. There's they're the underdogs.
Yes, absolutely. Those are
I
the
love
guys
it.
that had like the that were not like big and jack. I mean, Benoit was jack, but he was smaller. He was smaller than the rest.
He was short.
He was short, yes.
Yep. You know, for me, I was born in 2000, so I grew up watching Benoit as a kid, and I'll be on like Benoit was one of those guys for me that always made it seem real. And I know like some people, obviously, with what happened, um, discredit all that, but me being I feel like true wrestling fan, was able to see what he did in the ring and understand that the art was a lot different than real life. And I've
Yes.
always been a huge fan of Benoit, which I mean is controversial, some might say, but I think Benoit deserves to be talked about in that in a positive light when it comes to what he did inside the ring.
Absolutely, man. I do feel like because of what happened of the situation that he went out on, a lot of his career is rather been not talked about, but his contributions to pro wrestling are pretty much. I mean I can differentiate the wrestler from the person because I never knew the person. I only knew what I watched on TV, and as a wrestler, he was probably the greatest I've ever seen.
Okay. Okay. I like that. That's it. That's interesting. Um, so you mentioned growing up in Mexico. When did you come to the States?
Oh, I came to the States in 2000.
Oh, interesting. I like it.
Yeah,
So when you get to the States, were you still in school or was you already an adult? What'd that look like?
I was 9 years old.
Nine. Okay.
9 years old, so I was in the fourth grade.
What did the transition look like for you from, living in Mexico and then now coming over here? Was it difficult or was it something that you accommodated to pretty easily?
It was a whole culture shock, man. First I had to like learn the language. Um, it was, I mean, as a kid, it's easier to pick up another language, especially when you have to communicate in English every single day because of school. I think it's easier to pick it up as a child than as an adult. But the transition was like the style of living that we had over there is nothing compared to what to how I feel like easy we have it here. Over there we had to walk miles to get to school and stuff like that. Over here everybody has a way of transportation. Over there was mostly walking because I come from a very remote place, a very remote town and stuff in Mexico called Morelos. So, it's just a whole different way of living. The whole different way of getting around to places like grocery stores or like they all look like liquor stores over there. That's how big they all are. Over here we have like Vons and Aldi and stuff like that, which are like enormous compared to what we had over there. So it's a whole like culture shock.
As far as like your wrestling fandom, how did it change when you came to the States? Did anything change or was it just the same as when it was back home?
Uh, well, when I first got here, well, I mean, I would still pick up the Mexican channels on my TV, so I would still watch AAA and CMLL. But when I started getting more into WWE, I started kind of like leaving behind Lucha Libre in a way. Not completely, but that's because WWE was a little bit more accessible here as opposed
Hmm.
to a AAA, which it was only like a certain time you could watch it.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So, I mean, growing up now in the States, when did you figure out that being a wrestler was something that you wanted to pursue and possible?
So I always wanted to do that, to be honest with you. I always that's since I was a kid, I used to like draw because I used to wanted to be a luchador. So I used to want to draw masks. I used to want to like, I used to customize my own belts on a freaking on a notebook and stuff. I used to make my own belts, and I always wanted to. I always knew that this is what I was gonna do eventually. I was just waiting for the right time. The right time didn't come as early as I would have loved because I started training when I was 23 years old. If it because of there wasn't I didn't really know much about the indie scene out here in San Diego before that, unfortunately. But I also think that the universe put me at the right place at the right time because I've heard stories of there was probably wasn't like before I got to SoCal Pro, for example, probably the nicest people were not there. So I probably maybe they would have run me out of the place if I would have been there when they were there. So I feel like I got there at the right time, to be honest with you.
It was SoCal Pro where you started training, or did you start somewhere else?
Okay, so I started training at somebody's backyard. I wasn't a
Okay.
backyard wrestler by any means, right? But I started. They had a ring in the backyard in a promotion where I first started training. I'm not. I mean, I'm not really in the best terms with them. That's why I really don't care for them at this point. But that's the guy that gave me my first. I mean, I want to say he's the one that put me in the ring the first time.
Okay.
It was down in San Diego in the year 2014. No,
Hmm.
2015. That's when I first had my first match. So that's when I first started training as well.
Okay. And how did you come across, excuse me, how did you come across SoCal Pro?
Oh, so it's funny because this one time I went to a WWE show and I came when I came out, I found a flyer in my car, a
Hmm.
flyer for their next show, and I also found a flyer for the show that I for a show, the debut show of the place where I first started. And because they had Extreme Tiger on that show, and that's a guy that I used to watch in AAA, I kind of went for that one instead of the SoCal Pro one, and that's where I first started my stuff. But then when they closed their company down, I stayed without a training facility. So I decided to go to SoCal Pro, which is a little bit further for me based on where I used to live. But I think I made the right choice by going there because the other school that was out there, it didn't really last, to be honest.
And just speaking of SoCal Pro, just to kind of, I don't want to say sum it up, but how important has the school and the promotion been to you throughout the 10 or so years you've been a part of the professional wrestling scene?
Oh man, you did your research. Okay, so check it out. SoCal Pro. Well, I mean, it's very important, man. To me, that's what consider my home turf, because the first promotion I trained with, that was a lucha libre promotion, and I mean, there is lucha libre here, but I don't consider myself a luchador because, you know, I'm more of an American style wrestler. So, yeah, SoCal Pro is what I consider my home promotion. I learned to really appreciate what I have there. Uh, right now, I'm one of their coaches, so I'm grooming their future talents, and I'm working with all the guys that are coming up and stuff, and the guys that are like they're on their first getting their first roles in and stuff. Yeah, man. SoCal Pro is very important, especially because we're trying to make sure that we were handed the torch from the previous generation. So now at the top of this generation is people like Matthias, like Tortuga, like me. We're the ones that are trying to keep the doors open here.
I like. So, I mean, I have to assume, if you're taking place and helping do some of the training as a coach, you work alongside SoCal Crazy. What's your experience like been working with him, and how has the wrestling community kind of helped supported him through his second battle with cancer?
I see. Well, let's begin with SoCal Crazy is perhaps the nicest guy that I will ever know. If
Absolutely.
Yeah, he is
Absolutely.
SoCal Crazy to us in Southern California is what Undertaker is to WWE. He's the most respected guy in any locker room he steps in. That's the importance of SoCal Crazy around here. And it's unfortunate that he's going through this situation. And we all try to show him as much support as we can. We all love the guy. He's such a great guy. He's a guy that always got a smile on his face, and he's always nice to everybody. Like he's so nice that he never talks trash about anyone. I never heard him talking trash. And if he talks trash about you, that's because you must be an asshole. That's exactly how it is. Let's be honest. Okay, if Soccer Crazy is bad mouthing one person, that's because they had it coming. Because
They
that does
deserve
not,
it.
I cannot see him talking trash about anyone. Even though there's people out there who do deserve it, he doesn't do it because he's so nice.
It's crazy because I just had a conversation with him, and he's just such a genuine human being. And you can tell he's obviously going through something very heavy, but even in the conversation to remain focused and to remain goal oriented, to say, "Hey, I can look past this, and I'm looking forward to what's next," is amazing. And I can definitely tell and he said, because it's the support he has around him, whether it's in wrestling, whether it's family. So I'm sure he appreciates you guys just as much as you guys, or just as much as you guys appreciate him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's such a nice human being. You have no idea. I mean, I don't know if have you met him before?
I haven't met him in person, but we've
Okay,
had some conversations.
He's such a nice person, man. You have no idea.
Just speaking of that, I kind of asked him a similar question. He came in the early 2000s. You started your journey in the mid 2010s.
Mhm.
Looking back now, being a coach and helping coach the talent of today, What are some of the biggest differences on the independent scene um, from now as to when you started?
Well, there's a lot. Well, I mean, regarding my city, there's a lot more promotions now. Like back in the day, there was just SoCal Pro and the other promotion where I started, and there was another school that was trying to pick up, but it wasn't really there. Um, but like now, there's SoCal Pro, there's One Ring Circus, there's Primal, there's Global, just in San Diego, and there's WWZ. A little bit up north, a little bit higher, BWC. There's so many promotions that you could go to these days.
Um,
So basically, yeah, there's a lot. Wrestling has expanded like a lot
I like it.
since 2015.
It seems like that's the story everywhere because I'm based out of Chicago or right outside of
Mhm.
Chicago, and I know there's been a lot of. I mean, just this past year, I think I know of two promotions that started up, just amongst the plethora that are in the Chicago area. So it's cool to see the independent scene booming as much as it is, and I'm glad to hear it's happening the same way in San Diego.
Yeah, man, it's crazy because like I said, when I first started, there was but two promotions, and one of them was SoCal Pro, which because of their history, it was a little bit well, I mean, I was mostly into doing lucha libre at the time. So I wasn't really looking to getting into it, but then when I started doing take going to Soca Pro, taking American style, I kind of fell in love with it all over again. So it's amazing how it's just the wrestling scene just in San Diego has grown.
Definitely. Speaking of SoCal Pro, you are a former, I believe, two-time SoCal Pro Golden State champion.
Two-time
Um,
Golden State champion.
what did it mean to be able to not win it once, but to be able to win it twice?
Oh man, well, I mean, there are not that many people that I mean, there's not that many people that held the championship more than once, to be honest with you. And honestly, so far that is the biggest belt I've had because of the history it has and the fact that SoCal Pro is the biggest company in San Diego. We're going to 20 years already, so that championship. I really enjoyed my both of my runs that I had with that belt. The first time I actually beat the longest reigning Golden State champion, Fidel Bravo, which is
Nice.
already he's in his third run right now. But
Ooh,
you know, it's only him and Ricky Mandel that's held the belt three times. Pretty much only a couple other people has held it twice, which I'm a part of it, and everybody else only done it once. Yeah, man, that was my first title run. When I beat Fidel Bravo, who had like he held the title through like COVID, so he had it for a while. And then the second time I beat Tanner Black, who is one of the
nice.
guys that I had a pretty big rivalry with, and he was like a year into his title reign when I just freaking answered an open challenge and I took his belt.
Nice. So, what out of the two is your favorite of the runs?
It's a hard one because like they both to be honest with you, Tanner was like my Achilles heel because both of those title reigns involved them in some capacity. But I would say the second one probably. My second title reign was a little bit longer than the first one. The first one felt good because it was like our first major show coming out of the pandemic in SoCal Pro, and I got to main event that show, and I took the belt from Fidel. But the second one, I kind of held it for a little bit longer, and I got a couple title defenses in, and I lost it at the anniversary show too. So I will probably go for the second one, to be honest with you.
Do you have a favorite defense?
Well, I mean, I defended it like twice only, so I don't. I know I had three title defenses. I would probably say there was this guy named the Black Ninja that wasn't around for long. He was one of our students, and I gave him a title match when we did this bar show, and like I got. I was able to get a good match out of a freaking rookie, which that's a freaking big old feather in the cap in my cap, to be honest with you. So I would take that one.
Okay.
It was me and Black Shinobi, I think was his name. I don't know. It was one of those throwaway gimmicks he had.
Okay. Now speaking of gimmicks, let's say, or personas,
Yeah.
what inspired the straight edge devil character?
Straight Edge Devil. Well, I mean, have you seen much of the of my matches? Have you seen my matches?
I've watched a couple in doing research.
Okay.
I've watched a couple.
Most of the nice. So most of the outfits that I got. So I first started out with a mask. It was a completely different gimmick. So Anthony Idol kind of helped. Anthony Idol, who is one of the great minds of professional wrestling here in San Diego. He's one of the unsung heroes here. He helped me come up with the whole at first it used to be the straight edge street king because we kind of keep it kid friendly, and I was like one of the most liked guys. I don't know what happened to everybody. I don't know why they don't like me anymore, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Um, I was the straight edge street king for a while because of my straight edge lifestyle, and but when I started doing the when I unmasked myself and I started doing the whole street king straight edge street king persona, I based all of my pretty much most of my outfits are based on whatever Rey Mysterio Jr. used to wear in his filthy animal days. I don't know if you could kind of like get the reference when you see him.
Yeah,
Even the horns, Rey Mysterio used to put horns on back in the day, not with the bandana, but with just he would just like glue horns in his head
I loved it.
back in back in his back in his filthy animal days, and that's where the horns came from. I'm telling you, he's been a huge inspiration in my life, honestly. But yeah, I mean, to me, that's a really underrated part of his career, and that's kind of what I'm trying to like uh pay homage to his filthy animals days.
So what made you decide to go from wearing a mask to taking the mask off and trying this new character?
Well, the place that I work for, SoCal Pro, because here in SoCal Pro, it's kind of I feel like it's a little bit more difficult to connect with the crowd that they had
Okay.
with a gimmick that doesn't really speak. Because my mask gimmick wasn't speak, it wasn't like a too vocal. So I needed something that would connect a little bit more, connect with the crowd a little bit more. And since we have a pretty big Hispanic audience here in SoCal Pro, I kind of figure I went that route, you know.
I like it. And it's a good way. I mean, because some people, I've noticed, especially with the mask, the mask hides expressions. It hides sometimes how you guys, and a lot of wrestling's through facial expressions. Being able to take that off and show more of yourself, it probably helped you connect better with that more American audience, if that makes sense.
Yes, well, it helped me connect better with everybody. The
Okay.
previous gimmick that I had didn't really it was I mean I still put it on from time to time whenever I don't want people to like, you know what I mean?
I see
Whenever
what you mean.
whenever I kind of want to pick up a second match or something, but it's like this when taking off the mask for me was probably the best thing I could ever do because it helped me like connect more with the crowd, especially because we have a pretty big Hispanic audience. So, I have like freaking people coming up to me like, "Oh man, you're from the barrio," it's great, man. It's great.
Just out of curiosity, what
Yeah,
is like the craziest thing you've ever seen at an independent show?
that I've seen or experienced.
We'll do both
Okay.
if they're not the
Um,
same.
some crazy thing. I've seen death matches live,
Okay.
and those are pretty freaking nuts. And I've taken part in a couple of them, and yeah. But if there's one thing that like stands out to me from one of my matches was this one time when some guy got knocked unconscious. We bumped heads, and like he was like out. And there I was, not knowing what to. I like froze up, and I was like, "Oh my god, what do I do? What do I do?" But like, it's one of those things where you gotta like, well, I mean, if it would have happened today, I would have known what to do because this happened early in my career, so I was really new. I wasn't really aware. I mean, I didn't know what to do, to be honest. So now, you know, yeah.
Get you.
But yeah, unfortunately knocked somebody out.
It happens. It happens in a
It
physical
happens.
sport. It happens.
It happens for
Um,
sure.
you recently, not too long ago, took place in a mask versus hair steel cage match at SoCal Pro.
Uh-huh.
How did you feel coming out of this match?
I felt cold, man. It was cold, and I had a bald head after that. But did you just talk to Tortuga or something?
No, I have not. I just look,
Okay.
for one, I'm always a big fan of the mask versus hair, those style matches because I know how important they are in lucha tradition. And then adding the steel cage element really excited me. Because it adds another layer. I'm just really intrigued for one, how you guys got there. What did that match look like? And obviously, I mean, the outcome, you, like you said, came out a little cold, maybe a little missing a couple strands of hair.
All of it.
Just what did it look like for you? Like, for those who aren't aware, what was that rivalry like, and what was that matchup like?
All right, we'll go back from the beginning. So this guy, he used to be my best friend. So me and him, we started out at a similar time in wrestling. Well, I mean, maybe he started out when I started doing the Eddie Islas gimmick. So we came up. So basically, my Eddie Islas gimmick began in SoCal Pro. My straight edge street king gimmick began at SoCal Pro. So we pretty much came up together. We were best friends. We traveled everywhere, whenever we had to travel, I would call him up and we would go together. And we did Arizona trips, we did LA matches. This guy and we were like brothers at the time. Um, Unfortunately, he became heavyweight champion. I became Golden State champion. But all of a sudden, I kind of felt like I was being his sidekick for a second. You know what I mean? I kind of started feeling like a sidekick. So I don't want to be remembered as anybody's sidekick. So the time came, we had the SoCal Pro Rumble, which happens every October. I won that year, and he was the heavyweight champion, and he was kind of like edge, like trying to have me go for the Golden State Championship and regain it because I guess he knew that if I got a match for the heavyweight champion, I was most likely the one guy that could take it from him because I knew him the most out of everybody. Like me and him, we were like brothers. So basically, I knew all his weaknesses and everything. So I started to go for his belt. And that's why everybody started turning on me because they said that I was being selfish, whatever, but I was not gonna be remembered for being somebody's sidekick. The match happened. I came up short, unfortunately. That's kind of when I started busting out my blonde hair because I was blonde for a bit. You know what I mean? Not natural. I mean, I was a natural blonde when I was a kid, a baby, but either way, that's besides the point. And then we did that match. I came up short. And then he just kept like just hogging up the spotlight, man. He had the belt and he was hogging up the spotlight and it was just getting to me. And then at the anniversary show, which happened in in April, I was like, you know what? That's it. So I came out, I cost him his belt, and he got bitter from there.
Okay.
And that's how the rivalry started. And we had a couple of pretty stiff matches afterwards. We had another match where the referee was in his corner for some reason. I don't even know. He bought the referee or something, but the referee was like getting a little too personal with me, so I just stomped the hell out of him. I got suspended for that, and then I announced that I was gonna go wrestle in Texas the same day as the SoCal Pro show. But surprise, man, I was at the crowd that day under a mask, and then I just stumped him again, and he challenged me to a match for my hair, and I was like, I'm in. He wanted to make it a cage match because he said no interference, which it was unnecessary, but whatever. Unfortunately, yeah, I mean, I came up short in that cage match as well. It is what it is. Look at this. It didn't take that long to grow back, so
Hey, it's
it,
back.
it, it doesn't matter. But the biggest thing about that match, it wasn't even that I got my head shaved or anything. It was my entrance, dude. I came out looking like Hannibal Lecter, stretchered out. It was Eddie Islas. Eddie Islas knows how to make an entrance when it comes down to big matches. Okay, put it that way, man.
I like it. I like it a lot.
You could
Um,
go you could rewatch it honestly. It's in SoCal Pro. It's in SoCal Pro's YouTube channel. If
bet,
you watch the whole show, you can watch all the entrances and all.
bet. Speaking of SoCal Pro, one last SoCal Pro related question.
Yeah.
If someone has never been to a SoCal event, what would you tell them to entice them to buy a ticket and come to the next show?
Oh, first of all, come get some of the Eddie Islas merchandise because Eddie Islas have the best merchandise. You could buy a bandana, you could buy a nice T-shirt, you could buy whatever. I got a bunch of stuff you could buy off me. But besides that, it's a little egotistical, but it is what it is. SoCal Pro has a lot of variety, so we have a lot of rivalries all the time going on. So there's always something to watch. We have Lucha Libre with the Lucha Kings. We have the comedy matches. We have pretty much every single show has a rivalry that they're working on. So basically, there's always something to watch at SoCal Pro. This couple of days ago, we had a women's match, which SoCal Pro doesn't have that much of a women's division, but we had was it Brittany Brooks that was here, I think.
Hmm,
But yeah,
okay,
man.
it's nice. I like it. Brittany comes up here in the Chicagoland area a lot and does a lot of
Oh,
shows up
okay.
here. She's
Yeah,
great.
she's a pretty big deal. Yeah.
I asked a similar question to this earlier, but just kind of lead into my next question. What are the biggest differences overall in wrestling today as compared to when you started 10 years ago?
Overall, well, there's a lot more places to work in here in Southern California. You mean indie wrestling, or do you mean
Just
like?
wrestling in general.
Okay, well, I mean, there's a lot more spots for people to wrestle on TV now, like with WWE and AEW and like TNA being pretty big now because like it used to be TNA was big in the like late 2000s, but then they lost their like TV deals and they were like on like smaller TV channels and whatever. But there's a lot more places to be on the big stages now. Like with AAA being a little bit more Americanized now and being WWE related, and also with them working agreements between CMLL and AEW and New Japan. There's a lot more spots for guys to grow into
Def-
into TV spots, if that
There's
makes any
def
sense.
there's definitely a lot more opportunity
Yeah.
for guys at any level. Like whether it's like you mentioned with the CMLL, New Japan, AEW kind of partnerships, the
Mhm.
WWE, AEW or AAA, TNA partnerships. Just there's so many places to work. WWID, like there's so much opportunity. I gotta imagine that only helps even independent wrestling because it gives all these places that are popping up more opportunity for them guys and girls like yourself to spread your wings.
Absolutely.
Something fun I thought would be interesting to ask. What would current Eddie say to rookie Eddie if you had to give yourself advice?
Oh, geez. Um, Rookie Eddie. That wasn't well when I was like rookie Eddie wasn't really Eddie yet. He was my mask gimmick. But I would say go ahead and go wrestle out there a little bit more. Don't get stuck. Don't get don't s- don't stick to one promotion. Because the problem with a lot of these promoters, or that they want to keep you in their roster and they don't want you to expand. Though that all that politicking, all those kind of politics are a little bit too. They're a detriment to the business.
Hmm.
So I would say, hey, go go out and freaking wrestle in other places. Don't just go ahead and be and stick to one place and stick to one promotion, because you're only helping yourself by expanding outside of your comfort zone.
Definitely. Speaking of trying to get out there and maybe spread your wings a little bit in other promotions, are there any promotions around you or even like further out, whether it's independently or even at a bigger stage that you would like to work in, maybe even this year?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to go ahead and go work in Texas. I would love to work in Texas. My mom lived in Minnesota for a while, and I wanted to go explore their scene over there. I have one of my sisters in Washington. I might want to go ahead and check out their wrestling scene up there too. I mean, I'll wrestle wherever I can get. Because I don't know, you never know how long your wrestling career is gonna be, so you might as well make the most of it.
Definitely,
I
definitely.
mean, for sure. I mean,
Do
I've always. I'm sorry for cutting you off, but let
You're
me
good. Go ahead.
finish up this point. To me, I know everybody's goal was it's always been everybody's pretty much goal is WWE, but my goal was always TNA.
Mm,
I was always really attracted to their presentation and how unique they used to be. So,
definitely.
I've always wanted to work in TNA, to be honest with you. So maybe one day.
Okay. Two more questions for you, then I'm gonna let you go.
Okay.
What is or are the matches or moments that you are most proud of so far in your career?
Oh man. I mean, winning the Golden State title is probably one of my highlights. Um, I had a couple. To be honest with you, I don't know why, but I don't like my own matches. I don't look down on them, but I just don't. I don't know why I don't like my own matches. But if there's one match that I really like, it's a match I had with Eli Everfly.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Eli?
I'm not.
Okay, that guy is amazing. He's been around for a while, and to be honest with you, I think I've had my favorite match that I could think of was against Eli. But there are other matches that are also like important in a way. For example, there was like a whole rivalry that I had with Matthias. Matthias and we had this rivalry that I want to say that was his first viral moment. I gave him his first viral moment by giving him a damn concussion with a chair. But yeah, man, those are the matches that I'm really proud of. Anything that had like a big blow off, matches with Matthias, matches with Venom, matches with Tortuga, Tanner Black. Those are I had a couple matches with Jack Cartwheel back in the day before he was WWE ID'd,
Nice.
you
Okay.
know.
I like it. One more question. We've kind of talked about maybe some places you'd like to work.
Mhm.
Um, but what would you say are the biggest goals that you have for yourself in 2026?
In 2026, well, like I said, I kind of want to expand a little bit more, but for now, I'm trying to establish a couple things right now. There's this group that I'm trying to I'm starting a little stable, if you may, with some of my old friends, Venom and Araxiel. That's outside of SoCal Pro. That's not in SoCal Pro. But I think that with the whole with the idea that we have and the talent that we have, I think we can make something out of that. In SoCal Pro itself, I would like to go ahead and be their heavyweight champion because I deserve it. I mean,
Okay.
I deserve it. Nobody else deserves it more than Eddie Islas. Let's be honest with that. And if Matthias is the champion right now, it's because of Eddie Islas. So it's a long story, but yeah, I mean that would be good. And also, like I also want to go ahead and keep helping with the training and help the guys get there too. Get to bigger places. Like I have a guy named Gunjack that's under my wing right now. I'm trying to help him get to that next level. Wrestling. I just wrestled with Billy Clutch and Derek Cox. Those are two guys that are really talented too, and hopefully they could get to my level someday. So
Yeah,
that's the goal right now, to go ahead and help them all grow and expand, and like just get bigger, man. Maybe give it. I want to help them get those opportunities that I had when I was at their level.
Eddie, I just want to say first and foremost, thank you so much for joining us. I do this a lot, but if you ever want to come back on, the door is wide open. Just let me know. We can do another episode.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot more to cover. Do you want to plug your social medias and the upcoming events just one more time, just to let the fans know, just in case they missed at the beginning?
Yes, man. What is it? Eddie Islas on Instagram. I'm on Eddie Islas 32 on Instagram. Eddie Islas on Facebook, and I also have a YouTube channel that's Eddie Islas as well. Yeah, man. Well, thanks for having me, man. I really enjoyed this chat. To be honest, it's pretty fun.
Of course, man. Like I said, definitely open to doing another one. Do a little update down the line, see what's going on. Maybe after you get the strap, when we get heavyweight champion
Oh, well, when
Eddie,
I get it, yeah,
when you
absolutely.
get it, we'll get you back on here for another one.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I know the pleasure is all yours for having me. But you should put me in your intro. Make sure to go ahead and
Definitely.
you make sure you plug this thing before it comes out. That way everybody sees it. Because I mean, Eddie Islas is Eddie Islas, man.
Of course. I mean, I think you being on here alone will bring in more viewers than I can probably handle.
I know it is. I know it will for sure.
Um, Man, thank you so much. I'm just gonna leave this at see you next time.
All right, man. Thank you for having me.